What's up, guys? Our Wrestling Podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious along with Justin Total Package, Frank the British Bulldog, and Cuz, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions for you. Today's topic: what happened to Magnum TA? For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. On social media, can you do us a solid and give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019, or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast? And don't forget that wonderful Daily Motion that we can be totally uncensored, unscripted, and watch whatever videos we want. It's a lot of fun. More content is coming. Well, actually, I think we're going to record some after this session. So I am definitely looking forward to that. All right, settle down. Jesus.
Dave, we might even have a companion for this episode. I don't know.
Wait, what is it?
What's a companion? So I choose the matches for.
God.
I see. I see what you're doing.
I see where you're going.
I better know what it is, too.
Magnum TA has come across the podcast so many times, and it always comes to the realm of a what if. Magnum TA kind of had a tragic event that really shortened his wrestling career. We'll get into it shortly, but just he was destined. I mean, some people go as far as like he could have been another Hogan. That might have been a little far-fetched, but he was definitely being pushed to be the biggest babyface aside from Hogan in those times. I mean, what say you?
Basically, he was going. He was going to beat Flair. It was already a foregone conclusion. Not to say Flair wouldn't have won it 7 more times, and they would have traded it back. Who knows how that would have worked out? But he was the big guy, and he was coming right along at the time when Crockett was struggling, and Vince was going national and really putting the pressure on, and they needed a baby face. They had really good stars, like a very young Sting in 98 or 87, 88. Dusty, but Dusty was getting older himself.
Was it Luger around or no?
He was a heel, I think, more often than not. I think Luger was part of the Horsemen in like 87 and around that. And then Luger turned face after that. A lot of people had to turn face after we'll talk about the accident, but because Dusty was scrambling at that point, because there was a lot of plans for Magnum TA, a lot. Big time.
Anything you guys want to add to that, guys? Greg?
No.
No.
No. End the episode.
Well, thanks for playing. We'll catch back with you in 30 minutes. Terry Wayne Allen was born on June 11th, 1959.
What? Who's that?
Chesapeake, Virginia. Terry Wayne Allen.
That's one.
We're talking about Magnum TA.
Get with the
Thought the TA standing for something else, right, Craig?
You know what? I'm sure it's been talked about before, but maybe I forgot about it. And they've also done. They did a Dark Side of the Ring or the Vice special on Magnum TA. So that prompted my memory to be like, let me write this episode as well. So yeah, that's fresh on my mind too. We're just gonna copy the other TV programs. Why not at this point?
Yeah.
But I
Ride the Snake.
I
man.
did not know, and maybe I just forgot or I never knew about it or whatever, how he got the name Magnum TA. It was referred to him by a very famous pro wrestler. Came up with the idea, and it blew my mind because I'm like, what? Okay.
Allen began wrestling in 1978 and joined the National Wrestling Alliance, or NWA, where he began competing for the championship wrestling from Florida and the Pacific Northwest Wrestling,
which Dusty booked at the time, by the way.
Yeah. Upon debuting in Mid-South, Allen renamed himself Magnum TA and adopted a character known as the American Heartthrob, based on Allen's slight resemblance to the actor Tom Selleck, who was at the time starring in the popular television series Magnum PI. Jess, if you don't put a video clip of Magnum PI's intro right here, with that
I'm going to put that famous picture of Tom Selleck by the Corvette in the short shorts.
So good, so good. Allen adopted the ring name after Andre the Giant suggested he combine the Magnum name with the initials of his real name. Hey, boss.
You look like
Why don't you do the TA after Magnum?
You look like Count Kellic, Mag PI.
Or Terry Allen.
No
baby oil.
Hotel
Magnum
bed
TA.
last night and watched
I'm
Magnum.
convinced he was grumpy. He was in the background and like Magnum was talking to somebody else going like, what should I do? I want to change my name or whatever. And then Andre, it's so obvious. He's like, Magnum TA for Terry Allen. Jesus. And he just leaves. Andre's
It's
mad.
right in front of the
No
face.
more
And
wine?
the story that we tell is like Andre affectionately gave him that name, but really he was like, it's right in front of your face, you idiot. You fuck.
I love how you trail off. You dumb.
And I just go,
He's just-
stupid idiot.
He's throwing wine bottles at like Terry. Just was like, no,
Flipping cards.
stupid, so stupid.
I'm gonna flip your car.
Terry, Magnum TA,
fantastic.
Terry Allen.
I have to do
Hogan.
everything. Everything.
Go get
That's
beer.
why
Cool
I'm
cases.
the boss.
I don't remember that. I don't think I ever knew that. So like when they said it, I'm like, Andre the Giant? Like, was he just, it's crazy. Like, because he used to be in the territories, Andre did, like before Vince gobbled him up.
Sure.
So it's just kind of crazy about how like somehow
He was
they may not
meditating.
even been in a locker room together. They didn't say it because Andre was in AWA and then he went right to WWF when Vince, I think Andre came in 84, 85.
Little known, Jess, that Andre liked Magnum TA better than he liked Hulk Hogan.
I'm sure he did.
He probably
I'm
did.
sure he did at first. And then, but
Oh,
so
that's
I'm
not true,
thinking that
brother.
maybe this happened like where the wrestlers like just like they didn't say it happened in the back because I want to say what year did you say it was, Dave? 85 or 84? When did he choose that name?
84. Yeah.
God, it must have been right before Andre went in with Vince.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It just blew my mind. I was
Yeah,
like
I don't
trying to
remember
do
him in
the.
NWA at all.
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah.
I know he wrestled the
Oh,
territories
brother.
a lot.
No, that's
but
not
like,
true,
yeah.
brother. He was
Oh,
gonna
This
do that
is
name.
wild. And
He was gonna call me Magnum
84
TB, brother.
All right. In 84, the National Wrestling Alliance Jim Crockett Promotion signed Allen. After debuting there, Magnum began feuding with Wahoo McDaniel, of all people, and defeating him for the United States Heavyweight Championship on March 23rd, 1985.
Hell yeah.
Cuz, were you born yet? When were you born, buddy?
Not yet, buddy. November.
Not quite there.
Yep, not quite there.
Wow.
Almost there.
You were a gleam in the eye. Yep.
Was.
He then began feuding with the Four Horsemen before feuding solely with Horseman member Tully Blanchard and his valet Baby Doll, losing the title to him, not Baby Doll, because that was a she.
He did lose to Baby
losing
Doll.
to Tully.
Baby Doll was 4 years.
He lost to Baby Doll. I'm sure she helped.
Yeah, she's forming
Losing the title to him on July 21st. On the September 28th edition here, Magnum lost the Horsemen's leader, Ric Flair, in a nearly 30-minute title match for Flair's World Heavyweight Championship. Magnum would regain the U.S. title in the famous I Quit match at a Starrcade in November.
Exactly where I was born.
I cannot tell everyone to this day. To this day, you must go and watch that I Quit match between those two. It still is wonderful. The violence with the chair is just second to none. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, yes, there's a lot of stuff you go back and watch in the early 80s.
He beat
you're like,
Blanchard Blatford, Jess, right? Just to be clear.
Yeah, Blanchard beat him, and then he beat Blanchard back for the title.
Got it.
In the middle is when he first kind of flirted around with Flair and lost in a like close match or whatever. But that Starrcade 85 match where him and Blanchard, it's an I Quit match in a steel cage. It's bloody, it's lovely. The violence with the chairs, some of the best I've ever seen. Like especially the ending sequence. It's like I've said it before. It's like a climactic in an action movie. Where someone's going to stab the other person and then they're pushing back and they're like, trying to. It's so well done. And Vince is famous for stories like that. Nowadays, we see all that kind of theatrics play out on WWE, and they're so good at it, and the production's great. But for Crockett to have that kind of foresight, these two just hit it out of the fucking park with that match. I love that match. To this day, it's one of my favorite matches. Really, in general, like that I've ever seen.
Probably what they wanted. That match is what strapped him.
Tully gets saddled a lot with Arn, as he should, because they were a great tag team. And they were the Brainbusters in WWF and all that. But Tully was an amazing singles wrestler. Held the TV title, held the US title. Like Tully Blanchard is, and he's a motherfucking great heel. Like Tully Blanchard, he's like MJF. Like honestly, he's just this smarmy asshole, like who just strutted when he walked. And he's just so talented. Tully Blanchard is so underrated. Nobody talks about him that much, or they just say, "Oh yeah, Arn and Tully," and that's great. They should be remembered. But Tully Blanchard is a hell of a singles wrestler. Slingshot suplex, like was his finishing move. Like he was so good, like really, really good. And Magnum they were perfect for each other, which is really excellent. All their matches were good.
Tully saying yes. Tully said yes. Tully said yes. He said it. Tully said it. Magnum TA with that stink, and Tully Blanchard hollered yes.
talk about the Blanchard family in the future would be a fun little.
Which is, and we were talking about it before we hit record, among other things we were talking about. But Tessa Blanchard, which is Tully Blanchard's daughter, he divorced his wife, which was the mother. Tully is her father, and she remarried Magnum TA. So Magnum TA is Tessa Blanchard's stepfather. It's crazy.
He's very involved with her career.
Yep.
It seems to, or at least
They both are.
According to Cuz.
I think when she wrestled for Impact, or was she at the first All Out before it was AEW or whatever? And they both accompanied her down to the ring. Both Magnum and Blanchard did.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Jim Crockett Jr. set up a contract signing for Magnum to defend his title against Nikita. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed a whole sentence. My bad.
That's okay.
In April of '86, Magnum began feuding with Ivan Koloff, who started proclaiming that his nephew Nikita would become the United States Heavyweight Champion. Jim Crockett set up a contract signing for Magnum to defend his title against Nikita in May. At the signing, Magnum brought his mother, Marion, while Nikita brought Ivan. However, Nikita insulted Magnum's mother during the signing.
Why'd you bring your mother to a contract signing?
What'd
You're
you say
just
about my
asking
mother?
for it, right?
Yeah,
What'd you say about my mom? Well, she's right there. I had to say
Right
something.
there,
That was before Heenan and Boss Man were Heenan.
Is
was
this
making
your
fun of his
friend,
mom.
Terry? It's like, no, this is dangerous, Mom. What the fuck?
Mom, just stop. Mom, shh. Mom, just sit there. Mom.
He's bald. He's quite a. Ooh, he speaks a different language. Ooh.
scary.
He doesn't seem like a nice man. At
Why
all.
are there pens here? You have to
Why
sign
are there
something?
pins?
Why are we making fun of poor Magnum's mom?
I don't know.
Like, now he's gonna feud with us. Apparently, 'cause that's what happens. We make fun of his mom.
Yep.
You get it.
Yeah,
feel
we're
like-
dead. We're dead.
We're done.
We're
Yeah,
all
he,
dead.
I think he can still hurt us today. She's like, "Are we going to Applebee's after this?" I'm sorry. I'll stop. Then president of the NWA, Bob Geigel, is that how you say it?
Rob Geigel.
Gaggle. Bye, gaggle.
Issued a public reprimand against Magnum for conducting unbecoming of a champion. Magnum replied, "Reprimand this," while punching Geigel. That's fantastic. As a result, Magnum was stripped of his title and was put up in a best-of-7 series between Magnum and Nikita. After losing the first 3 matches in a row, Magnum began a comeback, winning the next 3 to keep the series going.
What?
A tie-breaking match on August 17th of 1986 in Charlotte, North Carolina. Nikita finally defeated Magnum to win the title with help with Ivan and Crusher.
And his
Khrushchev.
mother slipped him brass knucks. No, that's not true.
So everyone
heard it,
talks
though.
about the Benoit and Booker T best of 7. Wonderful. Then they redid the best of 7 in WWE over the US title. Wonderful. But the first original best of 7 was Nikita and Magnum. And so if you go on YouTube and you see some clips, it's fucking silly. Like when on the match, because like Dave said, he went up 3-0. Nikita did. So they go into the 4th match, and you're like, "Oh my God, Magnum has to win, just stay alive." And then when he beat Nikita, that place shook. Like it was insanity. Like I'd never heard anything like that. He was so goddamn over. Magnum was like it's crazy, and a lot of people shit on Nikita, and I don't know why. He was very green, but the fact that Magnum was able to kind of harness him and hold him, and then like Dave's going to read later Nikita's progression after that. I think Nikita is underappreciated. He's not wonderful in the ring per se, but like Nikita was a big character back in the day. Like Joe talks about him all the time because Joe watched Crockett, so he's like, no, Nikita was like over as fuck. Like he was a big heel, and he was a big face, as Dave's going to read later. And we just saw the version that we remember, the 1991 Nikita that came back in WCW, and it was just, he was a shell of his former self. He left wrestling because his wife was sick and she passed. And then so he came back to wrestling after that. So, and by the way, Nikita Koloff, no fucking accent when you talk to him. He sounds like this.
Right.
Like he's completely fucking crazy. Like, yeah, he's no Russian accent whatsoever.
Knew his craft, man. These guys
that's
were-
another
these guys were
episode. I
doing
want to
it.
do what happened with Nikita Koloff, because like he's former U.S. champion.
I'm
like,
Nicholas
he's-
Colton.
No, most people don't remember, or haven't heard of him. You know, it's
and a lot of
crazy.
people like shit on him in a weird way, and he couldn't work. I'm like, dude, like you hear how hot these fucking crowds were? It's all about character work back here too. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, what are you talking about? What's work really when you think about it? It's all subjective. And like, dude, he's part of some of the loudest ovations like I've ever heard. And this series here with Dave, like, I mean, dude, people were full on into Magnum TA against Nikita. Like, it was a big deal. And the U.S. title was super big.
This was really the setup, right? I mean, he loses here because the whole intent is to put him on the main stage, to go from that upper mid to main event, and we hit this. On October 14th of 1986, Allen was driving his Porsche in the rain. He had lost control, wrapping the car around a telephone pole. The wreck happened on Saturday Road in Charlotte, North Carolina, only a couple of miles from his home. Initially, the investigators believed he was speeding, but forensic reports showed he was driving the speed limit, and he was left in his car for 2 hours
God, that
before a
sucks.
witness noticed and called 911.
Like that just makes it sound like there was one crotchety detective going, I know you were speeding, Magnum. Like, and it's like he wasn't. And at the end, he's like, I'll get you next time, Magnum.
Yeah. The wreck, unfortunately, though, caused his C4 and C5 vertebrae to explode.
Jesus.
And was doubted at the time whether he would ever walk again.
I remember seeing the pictures of the accident in Pro Wrestling Illustrated and all the wrestler in the magazines, and it was ridiculous.
The Porsche looked, dude.
Yeah, it was just wrapped. It was
black
just
and white newspaper.
Most people wouldn't survive. I think we'll talk
like a
about
metal
here.
box.
Doctors at the Carolinas Medical Center said his physical conditioning probably saved his life. The right side of his body was paralyzed for months, ending his in-ring career.
So he was taken to a medical facility? I'm just kidding. You know, WWE doesn't say hospital. They just say medical facility.
It wasn't too
It was a bad joke.
It's been a long time. It's been 40 years.
I'm sorry. That was a dumb joke.
It's 50 years.
Everything's fine.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much.
It's fine.
Losing Allen as a wrestler prompted NWA booker Dusty Rhodes to turn Nikita Koloff, Allen's last rival prior to his wreck, into a babyface. According to the storyline, Koloff gained respect for Magnum from their feud and wanted to take his place. This was memorialized in the spring edition of Wrestling 87 magazine with a large photograph of Koloff with the words "I cry for Magnum TA" beside him. Prior to his wreck, Magnum was to win the U.S. title for the third time before being groomed to become the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Magnum's first on-screen appearance following the wreck was on TBS Supertowns on the Superstation in an interview with Tony Schiavone. His first appearance in front of a live crowd was at Crockett Cup in '87, where with the aid of a
I remember that from the magazines when he came down with Luger and Sting, and like he walked like down. Or no, he came down with Dusty and Luke. No, Sting and somebody.
Yeah, he walked ringside
with a cane, right? He was aided with it.
Yeah.
But he walked like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It was Nikita and Dusty, right, Dave?
At this time, it gives me a tremendous thrill to present to you a man who tonight is returning to the public after several months. He is a man who has earned our respect for his personal integrity and courage, both as a human being and as one of the greatest attractions ever in the sport of professional wrestling. He has held the United States Heavyweight Championship, a member of America's team. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome here to the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Tag Team Tournament, Magnum TA.
Yeah, it says he embraced Dusty and Nikita there, who would go on to defeat Tully Blanchard and Lex Luger for the tournament championship. Magnum later worked as a commentator for the NWA, UWF, and World Championship Wrestling, respectively, where he also served as a manager for Rhodes and Koloff. In his last angle in WCW in March of '88, Magnum was attacked by his former rival Tully Blanchard, which prompted Dusty Rhodes to come into the aid of his friend. On the June 24th, 2007, on June 24th of '07, Allen as Magnum TA made his first appearance for World Championship Wrestling.
No, WWE.
World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, at their Vengeance Night of Champions pay-per-view, where he was noted as a former.
So was he in attendance there?
I do not remember that. I don't ever remember him being on WWE television.
Was he in the crowd and like?
They probably just went to him and he's like, "Hello, everybody," and he's performing. They were probably crowning a new champion or something like that, or leading into their U.S. title match or something. They're like, speaking of U.S. champions, and he's waving in the crowd.
Yeah, he's like, puts on the big smile.
Yeah,
He's still got an active
ended
Twitter
way
account too.
Oh,
yeah, I
Magnum
follow Magnum TA. It's good.
Yeah.
Why are you?
I had Twitter.
I feel like you're using it to stab us for some reason.
No, I'm just saying I might be a better person than all you guys, but yeah, I follow Magnum TA.
Well, this is true. We all knew that.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing here?
Duh.
Yeah. Well, real quick, we'll jump into the championship.
I normally do this with legacies, but I almost called this the legacy of Magnum TA, but it unfortunately was so short, man. Like he was really robbed, and you know when you think about the potential, we talk about what if, man. What if he was healthy? What if that never happened?
Yeah.
What if when Turner bought Crockett, you know, he came over as their number one babyface? What if he went to WWF later? What if, you know?
Yeah.
So many things.
Did we do that on an episode when it was a what if? When it was what if Magnum TA we didn't get in the car accident?
Yes, it
Did
was.
we
Yeah.
actually do that scenario?
Yeah, that was mine. Yeah. So I think about Magnum quite a bit. Jess told me about it years ago when we were really young. He's like, this guy Magnum TA was going to be the shit, and I started watching film, and I was like, oh man! And I remember the match he's talking about where they basically have like they're doing that dagger, and it's like right in the eye almost. And I'm like, this guy. And you can, I mean, I don't know him, so I don't feel the emotion as much, but I hear the crowd and I'm like, man, this guy was so over, so completely over. People loved him.
I loved his finishing move. His finishing move was a belly to belly suplex. It was really good. Like he was awesome.
He was great. And he's
a
a
big guy,
huge
too.
guy,
Yeah.
had the look. Yeah. He had it all, you know? Yeah, it was just a tough thing to hear and see. And it's definitely a missed opportunity at best. And like we talk about it, what if all the time. It's one of the things I think about a lot. What would have changed in the wrestling business if he had not gotten in that horrifying wreck with his Porsche and wrapped it around a telephone pole? And what if he wasn't sitting there for 2 hours? What if they could have helped him if someone had seen it? What if that happened today in today's world? Someone would have found him in minutes, not hours.
And well, and on top of that too, they're a lot better with spinal work too. You know, they could use some. Maybe he would have never wrestled again, but or he would have been limited or something. But like, yeah, he definitely would be. It's amazing that he could even walk now, like, or that he was walking then too. He was supposed to be paralyzed from the neck down. They were convinced, and because of his good conditioning and the shape that he was in and all that stuff, like that's what helped him heal quickly. And yeah, it's really crazy. So on one hand, you look at it and you're like, he's actually lucky. Like, but on the other hand, you're like, fuck, man, like we were robbed. He was robbed, you know?
Yeah, totally robbed. And I mean, it's like we were robbed. God,
he was robbed, right?
You're so selfish.
So
Why did you get in an accident?
Yeah.
I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I'm upset.
Why would you do the speed limit? Why wouldn't you do less? I mean, yeah, you know. Championship wrestling from Florida. He was the NWA Florida Global Tag Team Championships 5 times.
That's a made-up title.
McGee. So was Scott McGee? Is it Scott McGee once? Or no, Scott McGee 3 times. Dusty Rhodes once, and Brad Armstrong once. George Tragos.
Join us next time on what happened to
Scott McGee. I was just thinking that. I was like, who the fuck is Scott McGee?
What's up, Scott McGee? He won the Luthez World Heavyweight Championship Award in 2017.
I'm Scott
That wasn't
McGee.
even that long ago. Jim Crockett Promotions, he was the NWA United States Heavyweight Champion twice there. Mid-South, he was the North American Champion 2 times. He was the Mid-South Tag Team Wrestling 2 times. One with Jim Duggan and one with Mr. Wrestling 2. I love how we have Mr. Wrestling 2. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, he was ranked number 73 of the 500 best single wrestlers of the PWI years in 2003. And he was also the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame and Museum class of 2020. So I'm really hoping, you see how like there's 2017 awards, there's 2020 awards.
WWE.
I'm really hoping we're going to see,
He deserves it.
why wouldn't there be a Hall of Fame for Magnum TA?
With WWE?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'm on
Wrestling Observer doesn't
AEW.
consider him a good
What?
wrestler, I guess.
Yeah, they will. They will
Yeah.
eventually. I don't know how you can't. And like, it's just what could have been? What could have been? It could have been Magnum
What if?
Mania with the yellow shirt and the red letters and ripping his shirt.
That's what I'm saying. Andre likes it
right.
better. I'm certain.
Instead of slamming
Red
Andre,
shirt
belly to
with
belly's
yellow-
Andre.
He's like, belly, belly,
I
slam.
think it was, I
We're
gave you your
WrestleMania
name.
3.
As he gets.
I just happened to be walking that day, brother.
Yeah, I've
was-
been wanting to do
I
this for a
was the
while
witness
too, and
that
I'm
called
finally
911
getting
brother.
I'm finally getting my head out of my ass and doing some quality episodes. So we got Jamie Noble, we got Magnum out of the way. So I'm trying to get on a streak here.
Yeah, we got it.
I know it only appeals to us older fans, so I don't care, right? Like, but you should know the Magnums. You should know the Magnums. You should know your shit.
If it prompts some younger people to go back and
know
check
your
out
shit.
stuff, I think it's worth
Sorry,
it.
for yelling.
That's good stuff. For audio fans, give us a listen
Whoa,
on
hey,
Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts, or watch our videos on YouTube at our wrestling channel. On social media, can you give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019, or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast, or check us out on Daily Motion. We're gonna have some good stuff over there on Censor. We can watch whatever we want, say whatever we want within reason. Cuz stop that. Unbelievable what you say sometimes. But we can have some fun over there. So check us out on that Daily Motion. Also, O.W.P 2019.
We'll be discussing a wrestling business model over there that we've been talking about.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
We'll just say this episode's sponsored by Magnums, you know?
Uh-huh.
There it is. Terrible. For the O.W.P, this is Cuz, Craig, Jess, and Dave signing off. Have a good one.